Hi guys, how we all doing? We are live and we're in my garden today. This is not a green screen. I know you're used to seeing me doing weird things with a green screen, but no, this is genuinely in my garden because it's just such a lovely morning and I thought that we might as well be outside. Just having a look at the chat feed, I'm seeing who we've got already. We've got Audrey, we've got Sam, Eva, Liam. Good to see you all, guys. We've got Sky, Karina from my class, Freya, Jessica, Freddie, Bruce, Amira and Aya. Good to see you all, guys. It is great that you're checking in. Now, I'm going to, full disclosure here, I'm a little bit less organised today. It's been a bit of a rush this morning to try and get things sorted. And my computer typically has been painfully slow. It's just what you would expect whenever you're rushing around for things to make things even slower. But you know, we'll make do with what we can. Anyway, a couple of things I need to say first of all. So let me just pull up my talking points. First of all, I'd like to apologise for my absence yesterday. I might as well tell you just quickly what it's about. So, very sadly, my uncle has died, and I was quite close to him, and so I've had to go up to Aberdeen to try and sort out things with his house and support my mum, who's the one dealing with it. He has two daughters, but they're over in Germany just now, and they can't get back, and we're trying to arrange a funeral and that sort of thing. So it's all a little bit hectic with me at the moment because of that. But I'm managing fine, and my family's doing okay with it. But it is a very sad time. So that's why I was absent yesterday, and it's why I'm probably going to be absent again in the near future because we're going to need to arrange a funeral for that. So I'm just letting you know that's what's been happening. I would like to say a huge thank you to Miss Lindsay, who has been really, really supportive with this. I mean, amazingly supportive. And she knew that I was going to be absent yesterday, and she did a massive amount to make sure that I was supported, but also you guys were supported. I saw that she was checking in with you guys. I know I kind of left you hanging yesterday. I'm sorry about that. Some of you were having trouble getting into Sumdog. I thought that would have been a fairly easy process for you guys because it's just a three-letter username and that sort of thing. But you know, if it tripped you up, don't worry about it. The usernames, just as a reminder, are available in the general files section. So all of my classes' usernames, they're all stored centrally in the files section, and your passwords are just your usual passwords for getting on to 365. It's the same password for 365 and Sumdog. For my class, at least. I can't speak for the other two classes necessarily, but that's the way it is for my class. Thank you to the people in the comments that are offering their condolences. I appreciate that. Okay, and yeah, once again, a huge thank you to Miss Lindsay because she really was great in supporting me. Anyway, moving on from that, we're just going to press on. Obviously, I am in the garden today, as you've seen, and there's going to be a little bit of noise going on because my two kids are mucking about in the background. They've got all sorts of toys around. They've fallen over, I think, at least twice each so far. Is that right, guys? Yeah? Have we been crying already a little bit? Yeah? Are we probably going to end up falling over again at some point while I'm chatting? She's sort of nodding and shaking her head. It's a weird... I think we're probably going to have something going on, especially considering the mad one, my son, Xander, is standing at the top of a slide right now. So, you know, something's going to go wrong at some point, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So sorry for any background noise. The last two small wee bits of admin quickly. So Parvana's Journey group, I'm meeting you guys at 10:40, hopefully. So see you guys at 10:40. Windscape group, I'm seeing you guys at 11. And then tomorrow, I'm going to meet the groups that I would have met either yesterday or Monday. So tomorrow, I will do a live stream tomorrow because I owe it to you guys. You've been very patient. Tomorrow, I'll also meet the other three groups in your usual order. So Race Against Time, Dodos Are Forever, and Huntress of the Sea. I'll meet you guys in order. So 10:40, 11, and 11:20. Okay? And the final admin thing before we get on to this is going to be a short lesson today. I'm just touching base with you a wee bit. But the final little admin thing is that I would appreciate everyone to now start trying to start using Class Notebook. So I saw a couple of people posted yesterday, but not everyone is yet managing to use it. It'd be really good to see you guys. Oh, sorry. Some people saying that I need to speak a bit louder. Sorry, I'll try and get the mic right up to me here. Hopefully that makes it a little bit better. I think the mic's plugged in. Anyway, shush you. I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Class Notebook. The Class Notebook, all of you have it available to you. So what I would like you to do is, instead of uploading work to the general chat section, and I said this on yesterday's not quite live stream, but instead of uploading work to the general chat section, what I would like you to do instead is upload your work to the Class Notebook. So this is something that you can get on the general page. If you go to general, at the top, beside files, I think it is. So there's a little tab where it says files. I think it'll be on that side on your screen. So where it says files, beside that, it'll also say Class Notebook. If you go into that, you should have your own private section, and there you can post work privately. So, sorry, just to say, Huntress of the Sea, I'm just noticing people asking, Huntress of the Sea, I'm going to be meeting you guys at 11:20 tomorrow. Okay? So 10:40, 11, 11:20. Sorry, just getting back to it. Post your work in there. Now, the benefits of that are that it's a little bit more private. I know some people are maybe not posting because they don't want to put their work out there, and I get that. I'd like it if we were all very confident sharing our work. You know, we're all learning together, and you know, all the stuff that in class I get you moving around your jotters lots of the time. However, if some of you want to be a little bit more private, that's absolutely fine. You can post it to the Class Notebook. And also, it should be a little bit easier in some ways. I'm still familiarising myself with it, so bear with me. Give me a wee bit of patience, and a little bit of slack in this case, because I'm just learning to use the Class Notebook as well. But it should be a little bit easier for me to give more comprehensive feedback. I think it's even possible for me to give audio feedback in some cases. Anyway, guys, I'm just noticing Sky is asking a question here. Not my Sky. You're looking at me very confused there, dear. Different Sky. What are my kids at school, Sky? Sky's asking a question here. So for our reading groups, most of us have finished our books. Are we starting new books? So the reading tasks, you'll notice I posted a reading task yesterday, which was on Macbeth, and I uploaded the story of Macbeth. I even recorded an audiobook version of it. And then I asked a whole load of questions and gave a couple of activities. Now, I should say, I should have said, and I'm sorry I didn't say because some people were freaking out about it. I should have said that you don't have to do all the activities. The comprehension questions, I deliberately wrote quite challenging comprehension questions. You don't even have to do all of the questions. What I would like you to do, in fact, what I would love you to do, is try to answer as many of the questions as you can. Give it your best, but some of them will be too tricky for you, and that's the point, because what you can then do is you go and you look at the answers, and that's okay. You're not cheating looking at the answers. Look at the answers and think, what can I learn from that? So what was the question asking me? And really think about it. What is that question meaning? When you think you've understood the question, try to get your own answer in your head, but if you really don't know, look at the answers and think, how would I get to that answer myself if I didn't know? Okay. Sorry, I've just noticed Liam saying, "Oh, come on! I took ages. I took forever to do them." Don't worry about that. I really appreciate you putting in the time, and well done for doing that. I respect that. It's better. It's better for your learning if you can do them all. Those of you that did do some or all of the questions, did you learn anything along the way about literacy, about English? You know, one of the questions I remember putting in was the symbolism of Lady Macbeth's robes, the fact that the colour on them was green. Was that surprising that might be a deliberate choice there? That it's to do with her being green with envy. Anyone find anything like that Oh, lots of lag going on here. Sorry, guys. But did anyone pick up anything interesting about how someone writes? Or sorry, it seems like I'm having a lot of lag according to people here. It says I've got a good connection, so I'll repeat that again just for anyone that wasn't following, and hopefully you'll be able to pick me up. So what did we learn from trying to answer the questions? What things were you able to figure out? So I gave an example of symbolism, the symbolism of Lady Macbeth's colour of dress being symbolic of her being jealous, because green is the colour of jealousy, and she's jealous of the king and wanting to take the throne. So Sky here is saying that she really likes the adjectives and description in the text. I completely agree with that. Actually, for being such a short text, because it is very, very brief, I actually think it's really well written, and that's why I chose this series of books. So yeah, I'm quite impressed, particularly the similes. Now the guy almost uses too many similes in some ways. He really likes the similes, but you know what? They're good quality similes, so really pay attention to that. Is there a class posting on it so we can see everyone's work or not? I'm confused with that. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Freya. Sorry, I'm a bit confused. But one thing I will say is you can still post your work publicly on the literacy chat if you want to see one another's work. I still think it's good if you're confident doing that, still share your work publicly, but any feedback I'll be giving will be on the class notebook. Anyway, hopefully you learned a little bit along the way just by reading through some of the answers, and really think, what can you learn about literacy from the questions and the answers there? Okay, really pay attention to that. I wish I could be sitting with you, and I might try during some of the live face-to-face stuff. We might talk about some of the features of it, but yeah, it's a little bit trickier to give depth to your learning just in this medium. Anyway, guys, the second half of that will be coming tomorrow. I've not done comprehension questions for it yet. I'm doing that probably this evening, and I'll get that out ready for you. So you don't have to do all the activities, but do as much as you can comfortably without busting yourself. Okay? Right. Moving on to grammar then. So we're going to look at grammar a wee bit today, and we're continuing looking at commas. So I'm going to give you a wee refresher first of all. Hi, babes. How you doing?
Can I talk to Sky, please?
You want to talk to Sky?
Yeah.
Look, lean in here, and you can say a quick hello to Sky. Okay, just because you share a name, and that's quite sweet. Say hello, Sky.
Hello, Sky.
Oh, that was nice. Right, there you go. You'll see yourself popping up there. Right, you need to go just now, darling. Okay. You can sit and watch though. Sorry, guys. Okay, so grammar. We're carrying on looking at commas, and I'm just going to get up Active Inspire so you guys can see what is going to be on my screen. So let's just change the view. Oh, which one is it? I'm a bit lost here now. There we go. Now, am I going to appear almost entirely transparent? No, I'm not going to appear at all now. Let's make sure that my camera is visible. Here, outside camera. Here we go. Hey, you can see me again. Right. So, don't worry, I'm not about to ask you to do this again. This is just a refresher. So, last time, and actually I think this was week 1 of the lockdown. Week 1 of the lockdown, we looked a little bit at commas, and we were doing it for adding clauses. So we were doing things like, and let me make sure you can see my cursor here. We were using commas to add extra information in the middle of a sentence. So for instance, the cake, comma, a towering decadent chocolate gâteau, comma, was carried out on an ornate silver platter. Or the street, a desolate and dilapidated slum stretched forlornly through the sprawling city. So the commas there are used to kind of almost bracket in extra information. That's kind of what the commas are being used for there. So it can also be used to just separate other ideas in the text. So we've got the verb and adverb: screaming frantically, the girl sprinted for the door; leaping elegantly, the deer bounded over the fence. So the commas there are used to get to kind of separate the two parts of the sentence. So we've got two verbs in that sentence. We've got that the deer was leaping, and we've got that the deer was bounding, or we've got that the girl was screaming and that the girl was sprinting. Because those are two separate ideas, they're separated by a comma. So screaming frantically, comma, the girl sprinted for the door. So if you're using two verbs, usually the two, those are two separate clauses, and so you would separate each one with a comma. Okay, and hopefully, and I know this is maybe a little bit tricky without having direct feedback and someone saying to you, tweak that a wee bit, that bit's not quite right, so on and so forth. But hopefully, with the input you've had previously, that's starting to make a wee bit of sense to you. Okay? Yes, there's a seagull up there. Okay, so what we're looking at today is more to do with lists a little bit, but not just your simple sort of, in his pencil case he had a pencil, a ruler, a sharpener and a rubber. We're doing it in a little bit more detail than that. So your task today is just using commas for lists, but you're going to be doing lists that are a bit more descriptive, a bit more engaging. So in the grammar task, and actually I'm going to see if I can get that up on the screen. This is just a page out of a textbook, but I quite like it, and it's lifted from at least one very good text that I've read in the past. In fact, I read this just before becoming a dad, because the father in it I think is quite a wise and I don't know, I felt I could have learned a lot from the character in this book about fatherhood, and so I read this before becoming a father. The book's called To Kill a Mockingbird, and we've got here an interesting use of comma. Okay, so Maycomb was an old town, but it was tired and old when I first knew it. In rainy weather, the streets turned to red slop. Grass grew on the sidewalks. Yeah. Grass grew on the sidewalks. The courthouse sagged in the square. So what we've got there is a list being used. Now the list that the author here is using is actually not separated by commas, it's separated by semicolons. So sometimes we can use commas if we're separating individual items on a list, a pencil, a ruler, a sharpener. But if we're separating longer items on a list, such as in rainy weather, this thing happened, and this thing happened, and this thing happened, then you can use semicolons if you want. Sometimes you can just use commas as well. Okay, so this is using a list because it's just a list of what it was like when it was hot, what it was like when it was rainy, so on and so forth. So that is just kind of a list. The other part, the other section is a story that I haven't read from, but when I close my eyes I can still hear the mad squawking of the seagulls, comma, the slushing noise of the crushed ice, and the whirring of the forklift trucks. So three things there separated by commas. I can see the rainbow shimmering, the rainbow shimmering of the herrings, the gold and black, the glassy eyes of the freckled cod, and the ghostly white underbellies of the giant skate. So this is obviously maybe someone that's worked in a fishmonger in the past, but they're giving a list of things that they can remember seeing or hearing, and it's separated by commas. But you see, it's a bit more detailed than just sort of saying there was this and this and this. It's just written in a rounder, richer fashion, and that's what you're going to be doing today. So if I try to find the actual tasks now, you've got a few different tasks, and this is all available on the Word document for you. Let's it's going to take me just a second to copy it because actually I can't find my mouse. I think it's because I'm wearing sunglasses, or no, it's actually just that my computer's frozen. There we go. Right. So let's try and copy this in here. So there are several different tasks here. The first part is just a very short comprehension, just 4 questions of comprehension. But the next 2 tasks I think are where the richer learning happens, and it's task B and task C that I'm really interested in. That's the bit I really want you to focus on, guys. Okay, so I'll just read it so that it's fairly clear for you. So in the second passage, the author creates two lists using commas. In one list, he lists what the main character could remember hearing, and in the other, what he could see. Notice how he uses detail. There's a lot of detail here. It's not just I remember hearing planes and sparrows, I remember hearing trucks and ice, and like the crushing of it. No, there's kind of a richness to it. They've fleshed it out a wee bit. So what you have to do is try to create your own just two sentences, but that follows the same structure. So they've given an example here. This in fact could work for the garden that I'm in right now. I mean, if you change some of the names of plants and that sort of thing, it would absolutely work. So when I close my eyes, I can still hear the overhead rumble of planes, comma, the sparrows arguing in the trees, and the angry lawnmowers on Sunday afternoons. I can see the purple buddleia, the sharp spiked thistles, and the late night cars like a necklace of light down our road. Really nice description, and all you guys have to do is basically follow that same structure. Near enough, just replace the words. Not quite. I mean, think about why are the commas used. I mean, that's really the crux of the matter. Why are the commas being used? That's what you really have to think about. So that's your task there. And you know what? In the second task, it's basically the same thing. Write your own version of this sentence, but using semicolons. Okay? So in the first passage, you use the semicolons to link sentences together and build up the description of the town in a dramatic way. Thinking about where you live, imitate the first passage using the same sentence structure as the first line. So you're trying to do the same thing that Harper Lee does in her writing. So that's basically your task, guys. I just wanted to explain it on here because I figure it gives you a little bit more detail and makes you understand it a little bit more. And link it up with your knowledge about how we use commas for clauses, which is what I mentioned at the start there. Okay? Right, I'm just, sorry, it's really hard to see through my sunglasses if I'm clicking around. Now, I'm just having a wee flick back through the comments, making sure that I've not missed anything. Yep, nothing really that I've significantly missed, that it seems. So I'm gonna sign off at the moment. Much shorter live stream today, but hopefully it's held your attention a wee bit more. I am going to meet with my my groups starting from 10:40, so you've got a wee while to start thinking about your work. And importantly, for the groups that I'm meeting, if you have any questions that come to your mind, make sure you bring them to the live chat. Okay, so if you've jotted anything down over the course of this week and you thought, you know what, I struggled with that, or I didn't get this activity, or you know, what that question on the Macbeth thing, what was that even about? I really didn't even understand the answer. Bring it to the chat so that we can talk about it there. Okay, and for my groups, I'd like you to bring a couple of things. We might not talk about all of them, but one of the things I'd like you to bring is your letter, your complaint letter to Twinkle, and then lastly, I'd like you. We're gonna maybe bring your answers for whatever you did for Macbeth yesterday. And I've just noticed Callie saying that it's her birthday on Saturday. I'm outside with all the neighbours listening, so I don't really want to sing happy birthday audibly just now, and it's not Saturday yet, but I will wish you happy birthday later in the week. Anyway, guys, all the best, and see some of you in the live chat in a little while. Work hard today, and get outside and enjoy the sunshine, because it's amazing. See you soon, guys.